hot diggity dog. Welcome back, you guys. This is the Invested Dog coming at it again. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 3 quantum computing stocks that have massive upsides in May. This is only the 4th of May. And we can make some money. We can make some money. If you want to go directly to the stocks, I'm going to be talking about the actual stocks probably around the 3-minute mark. As of right now, we are going to dive into some of the articles and some of the backstories behind each stocks. Quantum computing isn't a faraway technology that has no implications for modern commuting practices. I think that there are a handful of quantum stocks that are incredible buys right now, and investors should consider buying them in May. And this is coming from an article from the Motley Fool. You're never a fool if you are investing. Those 3 stocks are ticket symbol IonQ, and then ticket symbol QBTS, and of course NVIDIA, ticket symbol NVDA. Yes, NVIDIA. And all of them have big upsides in the upcoming months and beyond. So why will the AI create the world's fastest trillionaire? Their teams just released a report on that little known company called, indispensable monopoly, providing the critical technology NVIDIA and Intel both needed. Okay, so first on the list, really fast, I know I have 30 seconds to talk about this with this article. IonQ is probably the most popular pure play quantum computing company out there. It has gained a popularity due to its massive technology. IonQ holds the world's record for the most accurate quantum computer, and it is significantly ahead of many of its peers. Let's go to D-Wave Quantum. While Ion is pursuing a general purpose quantum computing, D-Wave Quantum is working on more specialized ones. The devices use a technique known as quantum annealing, which looks for the lowest energy state in the system to find the optimal answer. That is some good stuff. I don't know if I have time to dive into all of this. NVIDIA has the biggest quantum computing potential. NVIDIA recently made some big news when it announced its collection of open source artificial intelligence models called ISING that helps collaborate quantum computing processors. The company has said that the ISING's results is decoding that is up to 2.5 faster and 3 times more accurate than traditional methods. Let's dive deep into the stocks. Let's get into IQ. As of right now, it closed off at $45.12. The stock market is set to open in about 15 minutes. What do you think will happen? Do you think that the stock will open at a high or will open at a loss? Let's look at this. Let's look at the 1 month. 1 month, it's already up 66%. 6 months, it's already, it's down 25%. However, for the 1 year, it's up almost 70%. I think that this could be a good buy. I think this is one of the stocks that we should be working on and just doing an analysis on and figure out if this is a good stock for us to incorporate within our portfolio. Their earnings, I'm not too happy about their earnings. Let's look at the revenue versus earnings. The revenue that they made was $11 million, and they did lose almost $50 million. Same thing in 2023, but at a bigger gap. They lost almost $50 million. 2024, they lost almost $332 million, but their revenue was $43 million. And with 2025, their revenue was 130 million and they lost 110 million. I'm not too worried about this right here, only because that's just the stock market. Whenever there's something new that's being introduced within the economy, with being introduced to people, of course there's going to be a growth. There's going to be issues with the growth of the stock. So I'm not horribly worried about this. I'm thinking about more so long term than short term. Let's look at the earnings per share. Earnings per share for Q1 2025, they were able to beat it. They lost it in Q2 of 2025. Q3, they didn't release that. I don't know why. And Q4 of 2025, they were able to beat it. Of course, Q1 of 2026, it's not released just yet. That should be coming out fairly soon. Let's see what some of the investors are saying about this stock. Ticket symbol again, IonQ. There are some recommendations saying to buy. Buy. A lot, decent amount of recommendations saying to buy. Moderate amount saying to hold. Moderate amount saying to it's a strong buy, but as you can see right here, there is no red. There is nobody saying to sell it. If you can get in at the average price of $64.56, then that would be good. The high at one point was $100. I don't know if I would buy it at $100. I would definitely buy it at $35, but if you can get in right where the average target price is, the Analyst price targets is $64.56, then I would say that's a pretty decent return for the potential upside. Let's go over to D-Wave. D-Wave, what did they close out at? They closed out at $20.28. The 1 month mark, if you would have bought only 30 days ago, yes, you would have had almost a 50% return on investment. 6 months, let's see what they say. Okay, you would have lost if you bought this time 6 months ago, back in November, 44% loss. 1 year, let's see what they say. Whoa, 1 year is up 193%. That is a killing. That is a killing. I think let's just look and see what the revenue versus earnings. I love looking at the revenue versus earnings because you can kind of see the projection that it's going to go. How much money are they spending within the company? How much money are they earning within the company? How much money are they bringing in within the company? Let's look at the revenue for 2022. Of course, the revenue was small, almost 25 million, and they did have a loss, I should say, a loss of earnings of almost 85 million. And that trend seemed to be going on until 2025. With 2025, they were able to make a little bit more revenue, almost 25 million. And the loss is about the same as 2024 and 2023 and 2022. Now, they did miss a few quarters to earnings per share. They were able to beat for 2025 Q1, they were able to beat that. However, the next quarter, they lost that. The next quarter, they beat that. The next quarter, they lost that. Do you think that 2026 Q1, they are able to beat that? I don't know. This is one stock that we definitely do have to do a little bit more research on and brainstorm amongst each other to see if we are going to be projected to make that. Based on the historical trend, it looks like we may be able to meet that year-to-date return. You're gonna be down almost 22%, but as far as comparing it to the S&P 500, it's up 5.62%. And the 1 year return, if you bought this stock, again, ticket symbol QBTS, you are up 193, almost 194% compared to the S&P 500, which is about 30%. It's 29.01%. And of course, a 3-year return, you're up 4,142% compared to the S&P 500, where you would be up 73%. And the 5-year return, you would be up over 100% compared to the S&P 500, which would be closer to 70%. Okay, now last but definitely not least, we are going to be talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been in everyone's mouth. Everybody talks about NVIDIA. NVIDIA continues to be at the forefront of AI and technology advancements, as demonstrated by the involvement in significant contracts with Axe Compute and GPU development. Let's see what they closed, I should say. They closed at $199.57 one month ago. Why is my computer freezing? Of course. 1 month ago, you would have made 12%, almost 13% on your investment. If you would have bought this time last month in April, right now it's May 4th. If you would have bought this time in April last month, it closed at $178.10. That is a 12%, almost 13% growth. 6 months, it's not looking as hot. Yes, you were down 2% if you would have bought this stock only 6 months ago in November. However, long-term wise, 1 year up 78%. There's no other investment that you can put your money and get that type of return back. 5 years. In May of 2021, if you would have bought NVIDIA, the king of kings as far as technologies stocks, if you would have bought this time, it was $16.24 closing. Right now, as I've said, it's $198.45. That is a massive return. And when they first started back in 1999, it was only 4 cents. 4 cents, pennies to the dollar, compared to right now, $198.46. That is up 450%, 400,054%. That is a killing. That is an absolute killing on your money. You would have been like a thief in the night coming out with that. Let's go down and let's look at the revenue versus earnings. The revenue versus earnings, as I've said in many videos, they tend to be consistent amongst the annual and quarterly comparison, but not with NVIDIA. NVIDIA 2023, they started off with a revenue of almost $27 billion, and their earnings was about $8 billion. Then they had a growth in 2024 where their revenue shot up to almost $61 billion, and their revenue kind of stayed a little bit the same. It was $32 billion. In 2025, they shot up even more, where the revenue is $130 billion, and the earnings was almost $75 billion. And 2026 is the biggest growth they've had since. Their revenue is $215 billion, and the earnings is $117 billion. They've been able to beat every earnings per share. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of 2026, they were able to beat their earnings per share. Obviously, we're not yet at Q1 for 2027, but yeah, this is a great investment. Top Analysis, Rosenblatt, they're giving great ratings. Buy. Lots of analysis recommendations. They're saying buy. There's some haters saying to sell. There's some people saying it's a really strong buy. I think if you can get in at the lower side, obviously that would be a great investment, $140, then definitely try to do that. Even if you get in at the average price of $269.17. That is a pretty decent buy also, because look at that. Look, going back to the revenue versus earnings, they've been able to almost double their revenue every single year since 2023. Again, also since Q1 of 2026, they've been able to beat their earnings per share. This is where it's projected to hit. They've been able to make sure that they step up to the plate. So I think that it's a great investment. The market cap with NVIDIA is $4.82 trillion, and the profit margins is 55%. Return on assets, 51.19%. Return on equity, almost 101.5%. And revenue, again, almost $216 billion. That is amazing, the money that's coming from NVIDIA. Absolutely amazing. I think that this could be a great investment. Enterprise value, $4.77 trillion. And let me know what you guys all think about these three stocks, what you think about NVIDIA, what you think about D-Wave, if this is a smart investment for your portfolio or for all of us during a recession. And let me know what you think about ION, if this is a smart investment to incorporate in our portfolio during a recession. This time, I don't want to actually say that we're in a recession, because what is a recession? You have all of these investors saying recession. I think the moment of opportunities are built within recessions. You make the most money. There is the most wealth transfer is happening during a recession, during downfalls, during times of uncertainty. And if you know where to put your money, if you know where to invest, if you can look at the trends and figure out, hey, I see this is projecting. Hey, I don't see this is going to be lasting long. You can manage your money more appropriately. And that's what we teach on this channel. As always, you guys, this is the Invested Dog signing off. I will talk to you guys later.